Wait, one by one. Any one of you speak.
I was saying, Rangada, I was saying that it is the third sentence of the paragraph. So we could as well start from the beginning. That's what I was saying. Seventh line, the third sentence, that is between the highest.
Oh, between the highest plant life. Yes, I've got it. So
it is the third sentence. So I was requesting if we could start from the beginning. That's it.
Okay.
That's
okay.
all.
So I'm reading each sentence and then we'll see whether. So I remind you that what the subject is. Okay. The subject is that there is an evolution in the world and he is contradicting the Christian theory. Okay. The Christian theory is that God has created in time. Okay. He has created in time. Okay. Everything in the physical world. And it is even said sometimes that 6,000 years ago, he created the world. Now, this is what Shendra is challenging. He is saying that it's not like that at all. It was created out of time. Okay, it was created out of time, and the world is slowly evolving, and there is an evolution. And the higher reality is manifesting itself in the lower. Okay, so this is what he is saying. All right. So the higher reality is manifesting itself in the lower manifestation. It is coming and becoming obvious. Then he is saying that if it is like that, there has to be a connection between the higher and the lower. And if there is a connection, there will be interlinks. And the interlinks we should be capable of seeing. Okay? That's what he's saying. But when you look from matter to life, where the hell is the link? There doesn't seem to be any link. Okay. Then from life to mind, an even bigger jump. Then he sees that actually it has not been studied enough. Okay. It has not been studied enough. So this is what he is saying, that has to be studied. But when you come to the consciousness part, he is saying that the lack of connection seems to be even more. It has not even been studied, but it is even more. But if you are in spiritual consciousness, you will be able to see the connections. You will be able to see from ice how water comes, and from water how water vapor comes. And you will be able to see consciousness in matter slowly evolving into consciousness of life, and consciousness of life slowly evolving into consciousness of mind and continuing upwards. So he's saying this is what we are examining now. Okay. So I continue between the highest plant life and lowest animal. I am reading from there. Okay. So, between the highest plant life and the lowest animal, the gulf is visibly deeper, for it is the difference between mind and the entire absence of any apparent or even rudimentary movement of mind. Now let's have a look at this sentence which says, between the highest plant life, okay, and the lowest animal, the gulf is visibly deeper. The first is that the plant life does not move. Okay, it does not move at all. There is no movement, and the the lowest animal is able to move and bend for itself. So the gulf is visibly deeper, for it's a difference between mind and the entire absence of any apparent or even rudimentary movement of mind. There does not seem to be any mind in plant, but there seems to be some sort of a mind. It may be a physical mind, but it is there in the animal. It is there. So this is what Sylvie is saying. Okay? And what he is saying, the gulf, okay? These are very interesting words. Okay, he's saying the gulf is visibly deeper. What is the difference between mind and entire absence of any apparent or even rudimentary? The gulf, okay? The gap between plant and life seems to be very deep. Okay, but if you see the consciousness aspect of it, then it becomes a totally different matter. Okay, so in the one, the stuff of mental consciousness is unawakened. This is the plant life. It is there. Okay? This is Sridhar's contention, that there is an involution which allows the evolution. And in the involution, very clearly, there is all this, the supermind, mind, overmind, all these things, mind, life, everything is involved in matter. Just like the tree is involved in the sea. It is not that they are all created at different times and in a very whimsical and fanciful manner, just like the Christian theory. That's what he's saying. Okay? But between the highest, that we read, okay? In the one, that means the tree or the plant, the stuff of mental consciousness is unawakened, though there is a life of vital reactions. Okay? Now, how can there be vital reactions in the plant? We know that there can be vital reactions. We know that the plant responds. One good example is the mimosa plant, the lajjavati, as we say, or the touch me not in English. Okay, the moment you touch the plant, it withdraws and closes its leaves. So there is a rudimentary, there is a vital reaction, a suppressed or subconscious or perhaps only submental sense vibration, which seems to be intensely active. Also, now he's talking of sense vibration. Submental sense vibration, we know, yesterday we discussed that mother used to be very sensitive to plant life. Okay? So some plants are, some vegetables are saying, I am ready, take me. And some others are saying, don't take me. By the way, I'll give you a very interesting incident of mother. We're talking of suppressed submental vibrations. Okay. One day, mother was arranging flowers. She was very fond of flowers all the time. She used to arrange flowers. So in one vase, there were 2 roses. Okay. And she was looking at one and admiring the rose very much, when suddenly the other rose, okay, turned round and hit her hand like a thorn. And mother was very surprised. And in that suppressed submental sense vibration, she could see the origin of jealousy. So one of those the rose which was not being appreciated became jealous and pricked her. Now you can doubt this if somebody else had said it, okay? But when mother is saying it, surely it must be there. She sensed it, okay? So there is a vital reaction or already submental vibrations are there in plants also. And now we know, they have even made scientific experiments, and we know that the plant reacts. But since it has no organs of expression, it doesn't have a mouth, it doesn't have ears, so it can't express what it is feeling. Okay? But it can be recorded on an oscillograph. Okay? The reactions of pain and pleasure can also be recorded on an oscillograph. Okay, so this is what is being said. Okay, so I go to the next phrase. Okay. Submental sense vibration, which seems to be intensely active. Okay. In the other, though the life is at first less automatic and secure in the subconscious way of living, and its own new way of overt consciousness imperfectly determined, still mind is awakened. So in the animal, separation is something very surprising, because he's saying he's talking of the highest plant life and the lowest animal. Now the lowest animal could be the worm and the caterpillar. Okay, but he's saying even there's a mind. Okay, it is dormant. Well, if mind can be there even in matter, why not in a caterpillar? Okay, it's much more there. I'm reading the sentence again. Okay, so which seems to be intensely active. In the other, that is the animal, though the life is at first less automatic and secure in the subconscious way of living, and in its own new way of overt consciousness imperfectly determined. The consciousness is there in the lowest forms of life, but in imperfectly determined, still mind is later. The total absence of mind is not there. There is a conscious life, a profound transition has been made. So from no mind, mind has come into existence. So it's a huge, profound transition. That's why the gulf seems to be very wide. Okay? But the community or the phenomenon of life between plant and animal, however different their organization, narrows the gulf, even though it does not fill in its profundity. Between the highest animal and the lowest man. Okay, now he's coming to the next level. Highest animal and lowest man. The lowest man is the undeveloped man, and the highest animal you could think of the ape. Okay. There are other animals also which have got a lot of intelligence, but we take the ape. Okay. The elephant is very intelligent. The dolphin is one of the most intelligent. Okay. So these are all animals, highest animals, and the lowest man. There is still deep. There is a still deeper, though narrower gulf to be crossed. Now, that's very interesting. So look at the words. Deeper, though narrower gulf. Now, what does it mean by that? Okay. If you consider the narrow gulf, you will see that the animal is living and man also is living. So it is very narrow, the difference. Okay? But he's saying there is a still deeper, though narrower gulf. Why is that? He's going to explain to you. Because the animal cannot have moral ideas. It cannot think of the infinite. It cannot think of God, whereas man can. And that's a huge gulf. Tremendous difference at the consciousness level. At the physical level, okay, you remember he's talking to you about two different types of evolutions. One is the biological evolution, okay, the biological form is evolving. There it seems to be much narrower because the animal also is living and man also is living. The animal has 5 senses, man also has got 5 senses. But when you see from another consciousness point of view, he is constantly comparing the consciousness evolution and the biological evolution. Both are necessary. Huh? The spiritual evolution, the consciousness evolution cannot take place in the physical world unless there is a biological evolution. Because the form has to have the appropriate means to allow the consciousness to come into it. Okay? This is a very important thing what he said. Okay? So, both have to be there. A parallel biological evolution as well as a spiritual or consciousness evolution. Okay? So now it's clear. He's talking about narrowness and profundity. Profundity is in the consciousness and narrowness is in the biological evolution. Okay? Narrow is the gut, so it does not seem to fail in the profundity. Between the highest animal and the lowest man, there is a still deeper, though narrower gulf to be crossed. The gulf between sense, mind, and intellect. Okay? For however we may insist on the primitive nature of the savage, we cannot alter the fact that the most primitive human being has, above and beyond the sense mind, emotional vitality and primary practical intelligence, which we share with the animals. A human intellect and is capable in whatever limits of reflection, ideas, conscious invention, religious and ethical thought and feeling, everything fundamental of which man as a race is capable. He has the same kind of intelligence as the animal. It differs only in its past instruction and formative training and the degree of its developed capacity. The degree is important, and that's where it comes in intensity and activity. Both have got mind, but the mind of man is capable of things which the animal cannot do. Its inventiveness, okay, its rationality, it's even capable of philosophy, which the animal is not capable of doing. I'm talking about philosophy, but morality also is there. It is not there in the animal. So that's a deep gulf. Okay, the deeper gulf is there in consciousness. the constant comparison between consciousness evolution and the biological evolution. In the biological evolution, the gaps are narrower. In the consciousness evolution, the gaps are much, much deeper. Okay, that's what he said. Still, in spite of these dividing furrows means a furrow is actually when a plow is made to plow the land, it makes a furrow. It's not a very deep gulf, but it's a furrow, dividing furrow. We can no longer suppose that God or some demiurge has manufactured each genus and species ready-made in body and in consciousness and left the matter there, having looked upon his work and seen that it was good. Even the language is biblical, and he's saying God made the world, looked and saw that it is satisfactory. So Sridhar is having a little bit of fun in a very, very sophisticated manner. Okay, he's saying that it's not like that at all. Okay, it is not that God has made these things ready-made. He has created the cat, he has created the dog, he has created the elephant, he has created man. Not like that at all. There's an evolution from the lowest to the highest. Okay. It has become evident that a secretly conscious or an inconscient energy of creation has affected the transition by swift or slow degrees. In the beginning, it was very, very slow. Then later on, after the life has come, it has become much faster. And after mind has come, it has become even faster. Okay? As it keeps going up higher and higher, the speed of evolution increases. This is a fact actually in many, many things. Okay? Suppose in your education also, when you are a small child, you don't even know the alphabet. But once you have known the alphabet and once you have graduated, now you are capable of much more thought, much more easily. So it becomes much more possible to go into deeper thoughts. Similarly, also in economy. Okay? When the country is in an undeveloped condition, the progress in the beginning is very slow. But once you develop yourself and the basic structures are there, the roads are built and the communications are built and ports are all ready, then the economy can go off at a very much faster pace. Okay? It's called the take-off stage. So this is what Sridhar is saying, that it goes faster and faster, or in the beginning it was very, very slow. Okay? So, degree of developed capacity, where are they? Demiurge. Okay, so he said it could be God or a demiurge. Demiurge is a semi-divine creature, not fully, created all these things. He is contradicting that. Okay, so the transition by swift or slow degrees, by whatever means, devices, biological, physical, or psychological machinery, perhaps having made it, did not care to preserve as distinct forms what were only stepping stones and had no longer any function nor served any purpose in evolutionary nature. Because many have disappeared also, huh? Devices, biological, physical, and psychological machinery. Perhaps having made it, did not care to preserve as distinct forms. Okay? Because many have disappeared. What are only stepping stones and had no longer any function nor served any purpose in evolutionary nature. But this explanation of the gaps is little more than a hypothesis which as yet we cannot sufficiently substantiate. What he's saying is that the links were there at one time, but they have now disappeared. So he's saying this is possible, but it has to be proved. Okay? So, but this explanation of gaps is a little more than a hypothesis which as yet we cannot sufficiently substantiate. It is probable, at any rate, that the reason for these radical differences is to be found in the working of an inner force and not in the outer forces of evolutionary transition. So there you are again. Inner forces, he's talking about the consciousness, and he's talking about the evolutionary transition in the biological forms. So everybody is saying very clearly that the biological evolution is certainly not a random mutation of cells. It is the consciousness which is driving it, and it is that which is the cause of the evolution, even the biological evolution. It's not happening at the biological level alone. It's happening at the consciousness level. That's what he's saying. Okay. It is probable at any rate that the reason for these radical differences is found in the working of the inner force and not in the outer process of evolutionary transition. If we look at it more deeply from the inner side, that means to say from the consciousness side, the difficulty of understanding ceases and these transitions become intelligible and indeed inevitable by the very nature of the evolutionary process and its principle. So, in the last sentence, very clearly, he is saying that these gulfs that appear, these differences at a biological level, there does not seem to be much explanation and we don't see the reality. But from the consciousness point of view, if you are not developed, if man is not developed, then he will find it a big mystery how these things are happening. But if you are developed and you look at it more deeply, look at the words he's using. Okay, he's saying, if we look at it more deeply, what does that mean? It means that you are sufficiently developed spiritually to be able to see the subtler side of things. Then the difficulty of understanding ceases and these transitions become intelligible. Now you can see very clearly why from matter is coming life and why from life is coming mind. Okay, and indeed inevitable by the very nature of the evolutionary process and its principle. Okay, so in other words, you may question from the mind, you may say, how from matter is life coming out? Is it not possible that there is something in between them? That's a question that arises in the mind. But now when you go to the spiritual level of consciousness, you see that the fundamental reality is Sat Chit Shakti Ananda. Okay? So there you have only Sat Chit Shakti Ananda. Sat is matter, Chit Shakti is the vital. Okay? And there is force and there is Ananda. So there is nothing in between at the highest level. So naturally there has to be only matter, life and mind. There is nothing in between. Because the ultimate reality is only these three things. Body, life and mind. Okay? So, very involved language, but it's very clear what to say. So, we can go to the next paragraph.
Can you
Yes, tell me.
please give us an example of the highest plant life? Highest plant life.
Okay.
The carnivorous plant, or it is maybe a flowering plant like the rose, or what would be the highest plant life?
I really don't know. I've not thought about it. I was actually trying to see, but what could be the highest plant life? Where there is beauty, perhaps? I don't know. There, roses, flowers, okay? Because there's such beauty in them. And beauty is certainly a much higher level than the life level. So probably it is that. Beauty, roses, flowers, such not only beauty, but beauty of color, beauty of smell. It's unbelievable. Beauty of form. So I would think that the highest plant life possible from the consciousness point of view would be the flowers. Does it make sense? I think it does.
Yes, that's what even I thought, because you also mentioned the carnivorous plant.
That's right.
But I don't think that's the highest level.
No, certainly not.
I think it's more like orchids, which is an attachment for the divine.
No,
or roses,
I mentioned the carnivorous plant to show you the link between the animal and the plant. Okay? That's why I mentioned to you as a link between the two. Just as the virus. Yeah, just as well. So certainly the highest forms of plant life are the flowers, because not only is there beauty of, and in fact it's very interesting, the most beautiful flowers have three qualities: color, smell, and form. Okay? Some of the forms in plant lives are fantastic, such beautiful forms. Okay? And fantastic smell. Okay? Satchidananda, prosperity, psychological perfection. These plants have Raat Ki Rani, okay? Hasna Hana, what they call. Such fantastic fragrance. Okay? So that is something. But when fragrance is there, then sometimes there is no color. Okay? The most fragrant flowers are always white. Okay? It's very interesting if you think about it. Jasmines, psychological perfection, Satchidananda, which has got an absolutely unbelievable fragrance. Satchidananda, but all white. They're all white. Even Hasna Hana, now Raat Ki Rani, that also is white. Whereas there are other flowers with tremendous color, okay? But there may not be much of smell. Okay? But there are certain plants, certain flowers which have got all the three. For instance, the silence. Okay? The silence is tremendous color and an absolutely unbelievable form, symmetry, and the such. But it's got also smell. Okay? Prosperity. The flower prosperity also has got form, color, and fragrance. Okay? But there are some, like the orchids, fantastic form and color, but no fragrance. So the combination of all these things are very interesting. And it's interesting, Yasmin, that you brought up the question of the highest form of plant life. So I would think they are flowers, yes. Okay. So can we go to the next para? Everybody is there online?
Yes, Rangada.
Rangada,
We are all there.
Okay, so let's read the next para for if we look. So who will read? Anyone? Archanji, can you read?
Can you hear me? No, I'm want to add something. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Can I
we
be
can
heard?
hear
Anybody?
you.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that even in botany, according to botany, the highest form of life is the dicots, that is the flowering plants. I just wanted to add this. I was on the way, so I couldn't add it. I reached distances. I'm just adding this. That the highest form is supposed to be the dicots, the flowering plants.
Yeah.
So even science conforms to what we are saying according to the consciousness level.
Yeah, right. Very interesting. Yeah. That's right.
What about plants which produce fruits? I
So
mean,
they are the
fruits, like you get a beautiful watermelon, and it's not just edible, but it is sweet, it has taste, it has color. So how would just flowers and fruits?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because flowers cannot be eaten, but
so the basic
tomatoes were so conscious that they told
what I'm
mother
saying
you
is,
pick us or don't pick us.
Yeah. Yeah, fruits also. We didn't talk about fruits, but fruits also is very interesting. So, and it's miraculous how the most fantastic fruits are produced from what? From mud. Okay? This is the power of Maya. It is taking mud and creating the most delicious mangoes, okay, and grapes and whatnot. There are so many fruits which have absolutely unbelievable taste and fragrance also. Fruits also have taste and fragrance. Just like flowers have form, color, and fragrance, fruits also have got three qualities. Okay, very clearly. The fruits have, first of all, the pulp. Okay, and the first is the fragrance, then the pulp. Okay, has got smoothness, texture. and the taste. So texture, taste, and the fragrance. So some fruits have got a tremendous amount of texture, very smooth, but hardly any fragrance. Take the avocado, for instance. Okay, the avocado has got a tremendous. The pulp is extremely smooth, very smooth, but no fragrance. Whereas the mango can have a tremendous texture, absolutely smooth, but it has also got taste and fragrance, both taste and fragrance. So it's interesting what we discussed. So anyway,
What
about
I want
7
to add here, I'm going to connect.
Yeah.
Just
Yes,
one
tell me.
minute. I want to
Go ahead.
plant.
Yes.
We're talking of a plant. Fruits, flowers, all these are parts of a plant. Okay. So now when we categorize plants in science, in botany, it is the main two portions are monocots and dicots. Dicots are actually in the ordinary language, you can say the flowering plants.
Yeah.
And development. And dicots is supposed to have evolved after that, after the monocots. The flowering plant. So it includes the flowers, the fruits, everything is a part of the plant. So the category of flowering plants are supposed to be the highest according to science. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So we have 6 minutes. I think we can read the next paragraph. So somebody has to read the next paragraph. Who will read?
Shall I read?
Yeah. Anyone?
Shall I read?
Yes, Shilpa, you can read. Go ahead.
For if we look not at scientific or physical aspects, but at the psychological side of the question and inquire in what precisely the difference lies, we shall see that it consists in the rise of consciousness to another principle of being. The metal is fixed in the inconscient and inanimate principle of matter. Even if we can suppose that it has some reactions suggestive of life in it, or at least of rudimentary vibrations that in the plant develop into life. Still, it is not at all characteristically a form of life. It is characteristically a form of matter. The plant is fixed in a subconscious action of the principle of life. Not that it is not subject to matter or devoid of reaction that find their full meaning only in mind, for it seems to have submental reactions that in us are the foundations of pleasure and pain or of attraction and repulsion. But still, it is a form of life, not of mere matter, nor is it, so far as we know, at all a mind conscious being. Man and the animal are both mentally conscious beings, but the animal is fixed in vital mind and mind sense and cannot exceed its limitations, while man has received into his sense mind the light of another principle, the intellect, which is really at once a reflection and a degradation of the supermind, a real gnosis seized by the sense mentality and transformed by it into something other than its source. For it is agnostic, like the sense mind in which and for which it works, not gnostic. It seeks to lay hold on knowledge because it does not possess it. It does not, like supermind, hold knowledge in itself as its natural prerogative. In other words, in each of these forms of existence, the universal being has fixed its action of consciousness in a different principle, or as between man and animal, in the modification of a lower by a higher, though still not a highest grade principle. It is this stride from one principle of being to another, quite different principle of being, that creates the transitions, the furrows, the sharp lines of distance, and makes not all the difference but still a radical characteristic difference between being and being in their nature.
So it is a consciousness that is actually driving the even the physical evolution. That's what it's saying. So we have only 3 minutes. We have to stop here today. Next time we will redo this one. Because the language is always so interesting and we have to go into detail. When we go into detail, he brings out the most interesting small details. And way of looking at things is our changes completely. The way of looking at things, when you read Sri-Aurobindo, you start seeing it in a different way altogether. We'll take it up next time. We have only 2 minutes left. So if there are any questions, then we can deal with them. Otherwise,
the lowest form of life, instead of you calling a worm or a caterpillar, I would start with the amoeba and the bacteria, viruses,
quite right.
and then go upward.
You are quite right. And I did mention the virus, but that is what you're saying is true. The lowest form, okay? But he is not speaking of the lowest, he is speaking of the highest. Okay, yeah, he did speak of the lowest animal form. Yeah. But there, mind is involved, he said, yeah. It is very difficult to think that an amoeba or a unicellular creature has got a mind involved in it. But it has. That's what Shanti said. Okay. So, au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day. I'm cutting.
Rangada.